I would like to call the October 21st, 2019 all-committee meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. In the absence of Mrs. Smith this evening, our secretary, we're going to appoint Mrs. Giles as secretary for this committee meeting. Roll call.
Ms. Perez?
Present.
Mr. Alvarito?
Present.
Mr. Griffin?
Present.
Ms. McClinton?
Present.
Ms. Giles? Present. Ms. Thurman? Absent. Ms. Clark Smith? Absent. Also present are Superintendent Mr. Holder, Director of HR Personnel Mrs. Rusicki, Director of Finance Ms. Baptiste, Director of Assessments and Innovations Ms. Mitchell, Director of Curriculum Ms. Hanson, Director of Special Education Ms. Larson, Director of Buildings and Grounds Mr. Birdie, Director of Technology Mr. Daniels, Executive Assistant Mrs. Walton, and Attorney Miller.
All right, we have, sorry.
Do we have any special guests?
Oh, Ms. Baptiste? She said, okay. All right, I'm sorry, we have a quorum. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, do we have any audience participation?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair. Mrs. Sandra Hickson.
Good afternoon, or good evening, board and community. I'm here to let the community know, as well as the school board, that our chapter, the Glen area chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, the Delta Deer Committee, is having a fundraiser, a toy drive actually, for the students of Bellwood School District 88. It will be held Saturday, November 30th, at the Mayfair Banquet, and it's $25.
Thank you very much.
Madam Secretary, is that all for audience participation?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Item number 5, presentation, District 88, State of Address. Presenters, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Mark Holder, Director of Assessment and Innovation, Karen Mitchell, Director of Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Joe Birdie, Director of Curriculum, Dr. Victoria Hanson, Director of Finance, Jan Baptist, Director of Personnel and HR, Mrs. Janine Rusicki, Director of Special Education, Mrs. Charlotte Larson, Director of Technology, Mr. Daniels, and Director of Transportation, Mr. Stafford. I yield the floor to you, Superintendent.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to take this prime opportunity to bring to you today a presentation that we put together, a compilation of all the accomplishments that we've gained thus far in Bellwood School District 88. But I'm going to break away from tradition for just one moment. Coming into Bellwood School District 88 in May of 2017, there was a lot of inherited challenges that we had, a lot of inherited challenges. And based on those inherited challenges, I realized walking in the door that there was some formidable work that I needed to do as the leader of the school district. I'm fortunate enough to have had over 30 plus years of understanding and learning the landscape of Bellwood School District 88. So I had a pretty good idea of what I needed to do to change the whole paradigm and scope of what our district looked like at that particular time. We're not going to cast no bad aspersions on anyone, because the work that was developed in Bellwood School District 88 prior to this administration was about scaffolding and developing an infrastructure strong enough that as we continue to move on in our district, we were going to see a vertical alignment in terms of the growth and development of our school district. But at this time, without further ado, I want to do something that's a little off kilter in terms of the thank yous. Generally what you do in the presentation, you thank everybody after everything is over. Today I'm going to take this opportunity to thank some people, some very key strategic individuals who have been wholesomely supportive of this administration. I'd like to say out to our board president, Madam President, Senator McClellan, could you please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. Bellwood School District 88 hired me as superintendent, but I have a euphemism for just about everything that I do. They hired me as superintendent, but actually what they did, they hired me as the architect of the school district, the architect. And part of an architect's responsibility is to do what? Build a solid foundation and then build infrastructure to vertically move up. Madam President, I'm going to say to you, every good architect needs a good building project manager. And I must say, you've been the best project manager any superintendent could ever have, alongside with the collective works that's happening with all of our school board members. I say to our community, let's applaud them. With the focus of the day's presentation, I want each and every last one of you to understand this one thing. We would not been able to move District 88. I'm talking about 2 years and some change. Move District 88 as swiftly as we moved it, if it hadn't been for the support of those 7 individuals there. So I'm saying to you, as the architect of this school district, I humbly and gracefully say thank you for all the support that you provide for me on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to tell you what I learned about functional school districts. In functional school districts, where education is working, they do one thing, guys. They do one thing, public. Their focus is on children and children first. So with some inspirational pieces that I brought to the table, because I believe I'm one of the best coaches in America. And guess what? I picked the best players. I ain't saying I'm paying them the best salaries, but I picked the best players to help me to move this school district forward. And I say to all of my administrative leaders that are sitting here today, I thank you wholesomely and passionately for all the things that you do every day when you walk into this administration center. And I see where your passion is. Your passion is about children. Your passion is about individuals, the collective individuals who make up our instructional teams. Your passion is about this community. When I walked into the district the first day, I told our board president, I said, you know one thing I've learned in almost over 40 years now in public education, I said the one thing that I discovered about all of my travels and all of my professional development training that I've gotten from this wonderful school district, I got to gain some kind of return on that investment. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do this, I have to have a very wholesome relationship with the people who make all this, who put a rubber stamp on all the approvals in terms of what we do in our school district. So I just can't stress enough that from the board's perspective and my perspective in terms of relationships, we have a great relationship. I want this community to know that. Please give a hand on that. Because I do know in functional school districts, some of the key important factors that drive the success is how well the leaders work with each other. And I know that there's no way in the world that we're going to be able to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish and provide our kids with all the essential resources so they can be successful learners and be able to compete in this global economy without us first having a professional relationship. So as a result of that, the accomplishments you're going to see today has been because of the collaborative, congenial relationships that we've developed since I've been here as superintendent. Again, I can't thank you enough. This is the first of our town hall report, our State of the District address, and I'm excited about it. I don't know about you all, when we walked in the room today, I thought pandemonium had struck. I thought a lightning bolt had hit this floor because everybody was in a celebratory mood. And now when I look at where we are today in terms of where we were this time a couple years ago, we had folks coming here with a disgruntled lack of synergy to really adhere to what we're trying to do as educators in the school district. So last but not least, I want to talk to our educational leaders here, because you are the true backbone of our school district. Our building principals, our deans, our assistant principals, and foremost, more than anything, our building level teachers. I don't know whether I think most of you have, many of you have worked with me for many years, since I've been in the district. I've been there 30 plus years, Mr. Shippey, 30 plus years. In those 30 plus years I've been here, I basically have had the opportunity to work in all the district buildings. All the district buildings, so I've had an opportunity to really understand what the development of our community is all about. And part of my transparency piece was that I'm not hiding nothing from this community. You brought me here to do a job. And I passionately, with dedication and commitment, every day I come here, I try to do the very best job I can do, because you know what? At the end of the day, we all have to look at that man in the mirror. Am I right? When I look at that man in that mirror, I sit up and I say to myself, are you doing the job that's best for children? Are you coming to school every day, impacting the people who have to come before kids? And when I look at myself in the mirror, I walk away with a big Cheerio smile on my face. I'm doing just that. So at this time, what I'd like to do is I'll start off by saying we're getting ready to bring to you our State of the District address, and you all just sit back and look at the accomplishments and look at where I've taken this supersonic train. We could not push this train down the track, because as I said earlier, if you recall when I first came on board, I said we're a supersonic train, but we haven't developed the right engine to put in. I got an engine in this train that won't stop. It'll go for years and years without repair. I'm looking at the engine right there. As I look around the room, this is the engine. So public, parents, teachers, educators, be proud of yourselves, because I'm going to interchangeably use two words: we and us. There's no such thing as I in this administration. No such thing. So as we begin our presentation, I just want you to sit back, reminisce on the good times, because guess what? Bellwood School District 88 is on the rise. It is on the rise. Everybody better stop and take note. We're on the rise. Children first, motivate, innovate, and let's promote. At this time, Miss, where's my technician at? Oh, let's go. Let's get it going. This is our organizational chain, which consists of our board members. As you can see, we have our Bellwood School District 88 board with our board president, Dr. McClendon, and all the rest of our board members. And then the chain goes down to me as the superintendent. And then here's all my star players, all the administrators that make up the central office here in Bellwood School District 88. It is this team. It is the synergy, the energy, the dedication, the commitment, and the efforts that they put forth every day, as you will continue to see throughout this presentation, about the accomplishments that we're making. And I'm telling you guys, it's swiftly, and I'm excited. As a matter of fact, I'm so excited, I can't wait till tomorrow to get here. How about that? Okay, let's go. Next slide. 88 on the rise. 88 on the rise. Video presentation, compilation of all the activities and things that we kind of put together here in the district.
But never mind the night you had to cry, 'cause you had never let it go inside. You worked real hard and you know exactly what you want and need, so believe, and you can never give up. You can reach your goals. Just talk to your soul and say, I believe, I can, I believe, I will, I believe, I know, I dream, I believe, I can, I believe, I believe, I know. That's why, that is why I do believe. The goals are just that thing in your soul, and you know that your moves will let them show. You keep creating pictures in your mind, so just believe they will come true in time. You will be fine. Leave all of your cares and stress behind. Just let it go. Let the feeling flow inside. Get on the pain and just start to breathe. I believe, I believe. believe. Me too.
As you can see, that was just a compilation of what we look like at Bellwood School District 88. And as you can see through that pictorial exhibition, that there is a whole lot of strategic community teaching, board members, educators, superintendent, hands-on in terms of the kinds of things that we're doing in this school district. We are no longer on an island, ladies and gentlemen. We're a Bellwood School District 88 now open for business. The one thing that we tackle from the perspective of an educator, every initiative that you push forth, you have to look at some type of vision and mission. What you want to look like, what you want to be like, what direction you want to go in. So what we did, we sat down with our administrative strategic planning team, and we sat down, and I mean, we really focused on looking at what our community looked like. We focused on looking at what our district looked like. And you know, oftentimes you can put words on a piece of paper and they can be meaningless. And part of the aspiration in terms of what we were trying to do with developing our mission and our vision statement was to make sure that there's some parity and some understanding and some likables. And there were some dislikables too. But the more important thing was that everything that we're doing is going to be tied to children. Every individual stakeholder will be connected to how we're tying and connecting children together. Because at the end of the day, the more exposure, the more resources we provide kids, guess what? We give them a better opportunity in life. So this was a part of our mission statement. That's to enable and inspire a diverse student body to achieve academic excellence and make positive contributions to the world. I'm going to say it again. Right here is the piece that's so significant. Our diverse student body. If you look at Bellwood School District 88, we don't look like we looked 10 years ago, now do we? Especially from all the individuals in our attendance centers. So that means that now we have to be a little bit more proactive in terms of our planning and the things that we're doing to really kind of impact kids. And there's some other information we're going to share with you, some historical perspectives, points that I'm sure that a lot of you all don't know about Bellwood School District 88. So this pretty much kind of culminates our understanding about the work that we need to do. So when you put something like this together, and you're talking about making positive contributions to the world, you have to focus on how you're going to reach those individuals so that they can make positive contributions to the world. And I would say two things. You have to put impactful, passionate people in front of them, right? For all of our leaders, all of our teachers. You put people who are uninspired, lack motivation, guess what's going to happen? Our kids are going to be uninspired and lack motivation. So these are just some of the two concepts that we focused on when we wrote this mission statement. And as you can see, it encompasses everything within our community school district. We're talking about how our schools have to work together. We're talking about how our community has to focus on our learners. And we're focused on the most important thing is giving our kids all they need so they can be successful learners in life. Okay? All right, next. As you can see, we're building by putting pieces of the puzzle together. At the end of this presentation, you will see the mosaic that we've provided for you. It's going to be a very picturesque ending. Our second is our vision statement. And as you can see with our vision statement, it encumbers everybody within the community, our school community. And as I stated earlier, when I came on board, I recall how vividly school districts were when I was a kid growing up. There was no such thing as a school district and there was a community. It was a school district and a community working together. And that's how individuals like myself, and I have to pat myself on the shoulders with all the wonderful people who inspired me to do the things that I'm doing in life. It was because of these kinds of things. So we sat down and really focused and strategized in terms of what our vision statement was going to look like. This is exactly what we came up. We targeted every particular element in that. Number one, our students, our curious and creative learners who succeed through personal initiatives and sustained effort to reach high academic goals. That's a real simple. We provide kids with resources and put positive people in front of them. Guess what? Guess what the return on the investment is? Successful learners. So that at every grade level, as our kids climb through their academic pursuits, we get students who are now highly active, they're highly calibrated learners, so that as they continue to go throughout their careers, they're going to be successful learners, because that's what we want. We want successful learners in all of our schools. Second, our educators, teachers, staff, administrators together form a rich professional learning community where all are supported to hone our professional crafts and improve our effectiveness in our education of our children. Now, I'm going to say this, it's real simple. When I looked at one of the inherited challenges that we faced here at Bellwood School District 88, we made a narrative comparison. All the team members, we sat down and we looked at how much were we really investing in professional development training. And what we discovered, in a real short period of time, we were investing very little. So you can bring the best teachers known to mankind to a school district, but if you don't provide them with the essential resource that they need so they can continue to be successful, guess what happens? You get folks who are teaching your kids who are behind the 8 ball. And do we want any of our kids behind the 8 ball? No. Do we want any of our kids behind the 8 ball? No. I don't think so. So having that in mind, what we strategically did was our curriculum director, our HR director, our assessment innovation director, and our special education director, we said we got to come up with some real sound principles in terms of how we're going to continuously provide all of our staff with the necessary tools that they need so that they can continue to impact our student learners. And what we discovered, we had a variety of different programs in the district. We had a variety of different programs, and there was no alignment, there was no parity against it. So technically, we had kids at McKinley, we had kids at Lincoln, we had kids at Grant, with teachers doing different things at different times. So how can you expect to see progress when everybody's doing something totally different? So we said we got to look at ways that we're going to vet these programs that we bring into our district. If we're going to provide a central resource for all of our kids to grow, then we got to be on the same page. We got to get out there with the prognosticators and all the practitioners and say, what's the best programs out there? So we were able to do that in a very short period of time, and as a result of that short period of time, we were able to put qualitative vetted programs into our schools. And we had some naysayers saying, hey, every time you look up, we're buying new programs, we're doing all these things, but the progress is not there. Well, if you give me a book and tell me I got to read this book, and you give another person a different book and expect the same questions to be on the book, that kind of self-defeats itself. Am I correct about that? Help me, guys. Okay. So what we discovered in our planning and everything we do up here in our central office is strategic. Because at the end of the day, this is what I say to all of our leaders. How is this impacting kids? How is this impacting kids? So as a result of that, we've been able to align our curriculum with some vetted programs. And we're seeing the success. And I'm going to tell all of you here today, don't let nobody fool you. In the urban centers where we are dealing with so many different paradigms of strife in our school district, with all the negative stuff that are coming in our schools, it's very difficult for the workers, for all of our leaders to come in and do their work and be focused on the work. But not this team. Not this team. This is a homegrown team. This is a homegrown team. When I look at the investment that Bellwood School District 88, just what they made and what they've done in me in 30-something years, and I look at all the other leaders that are sitting out here and what the investment that District 88 has made into, it makes no sense for us not to reap a return on our benefit. Am I right? So the greatest thing about this piece is majority of our leaders and our teachers are homegrown. A lot of our, majority of, I would say a good vast percentage of our teachers now are homegrown. Our administrators, homegrown. If they're not homegrown, they're from this community. We didn't go outside and look for celebrated leaders to come in and change what our school district should look like. No, we looked at the investment we have right here in our own house. And I look at, because I have the opportunity to see it from a global perspective, we're doing some amazing work, some amazing work. And when I say this, I'm not saying that we're all perfect. I'm not saying that. On days we do come in here, there's a difference in how we have a viewpoint on certain professional issues. But I'm going to tell you guys, here in this community, when it's all said and done, when it's time for us to put it all together, we get the work done. So the professional development training that we're providing our teachers is just unbelievable. At one point in time, this is the truth, every time we did any professional development work, guess what we did? We did it away from here. Now Bellwood School District 88 is now the hub. It is the hub for professional development work. And not only are we training our own people, We got people within the Proviso Township coming here for professional development training. Never been done before. Because guess what? By word of mouth, everybody's hearing about it in the community. Bellwood School District 88 is on the rise, and everybody wants to be a part of that. Third, our families, active, engaged, and welcome partners in our children's education who gives value and input in participating and making important decisions about our academic and our enrichment program. I'm going to be honest with you. After spending 30 years in Bellwood School District 88, I've pretty much educated hundreds of kids over the years, and I've gotten an opportunity to touch bases with many of our parents in this community. And one thing I can tell you about our parents in this community, they are wholesome, supportive of what's going on in our school district. They are, and they always have been. But there's been some little disconnect to where now we're connecting all of the partners together to make this school district the district that I know it can be. And we're one of the districts, I call us the oasis in the desert. I call us the oasis in the desert. When we look across the viewpoint, we got water all around us, so we are not going to ever be thirsty. Because when I look at the collegial, collaborative efforts that all of our community leaders are embarking upon to help us to become a better school district, it just amazes me. I mean, our PTOs, our PTAs, our BPACs, it's a few other community programs that we put together in the district, and I'm telling you, we got some on-the-ball parents here in Bellwood School District. They're not taking no for an answer when they come here for answers about are we diligently handling our responsibility to educate their children. I'm going to tell you, parents, I'm telling you, I am so proud of this community, I could scream some days. When I walk away from here, I say, Bellwood School District 88 is rising, without any doubt. Our schools. They are vital centers for community life, enriched by the diversity of our cities, our welcome to all of our families, and we offer enriched learning environments and a comprehensive system of support to address the needs of the whole child. At no point in time do we not, as a leadership team, not focus on the whole child. And when I say not focus on the whole child, it goes through across every paradigm. Technology, curriculum, transportation, assessments, special education. We're always focused on the entire child. And when that focus continues to go to just kind of get ahead of us, we have to slow ourselves down and say, okay, let's systematically look at what we're doing now, because we're all excited. There's a lot of energy going on here. Let's slow it down a tad bit so that we can make sure that we put the pure essence into developing what we need to develop in terms of providing the essential resources so that we can cater to the whole child. Okay, next. Bellwood by the numbers. I couldn't wait to get to this. Thank you very much. This is from a historical perspective here. Because I don't want to be in the picture. Y'all, 4 minutes, y'all got to see this. I think I'm going to give y'all a quiz. All right, Bellwood by the numbers. Did you know we have 7 board members? If you knew that, raise your hand. We got a pretty intelligent group here. 7 schools. If you knew that, raise your hand. Oh my goodness, I see why our school district is on the rise.
That's amazing.
Uh-oh. All right, there we go. Did you know we have, in our attendance centers, we have 2,420 students that are enrolled in all of our schools district-wide. We have 386 dynamic, phenomenal employees here in Bellwood School District 88. And I tell you, I'm going to put you out there. Put you out there. Just so you know. I would say the Honorable Julie Mashicki has put in place procedures here at Bellwood School District 88. So when we bring folks in here that's going to be over our children, we want to make sure that we've vetted them properly. And I say thanks to Ms. Mashicki for putting together all of our procedures and all of our procedural things that we do in terms of process, putting that together, that I believe that we have the best educators known to mankind in front of our kids, and support staff members as well. 7 district parent organizations. I know districts where they only have 1 or 2. We got 7, and We're continuously growing. 8 languages spoken. How many of you all knew that? We got 8 different languages that are spoken in Bellwood School District 88. So that means we really got to kind of set our calibrations to make sure that we have all the essential resources and tools in our classrooms and in front of with our teachers so that we're reaching all of our kids. When I focused on the whole child, this is a combination of the whole child. Did everybody know that? Raise your hand. That's right, be honest with me. This is an honest group of people here. 6 communities we serve, 6 different sports. Can you believe that? Madam President, I'm gonna put you out there on this one. Thanks to Madam President. Madam President came to me back mid-year and said, hey, we got to focus on bringing some more extra activities to our school district. And she went out and found the guy who was the athletic director at Proviso and said, Superintendent, I need you to meet me at Proviso. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I met her over there, and the athletic director at Proviso West High School, his concern was about the feeder program and how when our kids are coming out of our elementary schools, going to the high school, they're just not participating in sports. And at one time, the Proviso Township used to be the mecca of sports. I recall, I was here, I saw it. Kids left our district, went to the high schools, ready and prepared to participate in formal sports programs. But now what's happening, our kids are leaving the elementary levels and not even focusing on any kinds of extracurricular sports activities. And the high schools are suffering. So Madam President, again, took this one on and said, Superintendent, let's go over there, let's get into the program, let's try to work something out, let's try to get some wholesome things going on here with our athletic program so that we can help the high schools, because as when we look at this overall, we're in this together. Our high schools, our elementary schools, we're considered now the foundational schools. We're not calling ourselves feeder schools, we call ourselves foundational schools. So we're aligning ourselves with our high school feeders, with our high school, to make sure that when our kids go to high school, they're going into high school in a very seamless transition, so that they won't be discombobulated about how they're going to experience their high school year. So we're really excited about that. We're in a conference. Hear me, a conference. You know, we tried our level best for the last, 10 or 15 years to get into an athletic conference. Nobody would let us in. You know why? Because we were so good, we win all the time. So we just established a conference, and we're part of what they call the Silver Creek, if I'm not mistaken, Silver Creek, Salt Lake Creek.
Salt Creek.
Silver Creek Valley Conference. And there's 8 other schools there. We make the 8 schools, so it's an even mix of activities. And I think we got basketball. All we always had in the district was basketball and cheer. I mean, now we got track and field. We got soccer. You know, our communities are changing now. We got kids in our. Go ahead, Mr. Mason.
Our 8th grade boys just won the soccer conference title. First time out. They actually went 9-1.
Wow.
Come on. Okay, here we go. Build by the numbers. Let me continue. 4 state and national recognitions, and that has been done under this leadership. 4. 2 state fiscal recommendations. Now let me put it to you like this, plain and simple. And this came from my finance director. We were sitting down when I came on board. This was one of our big inherited challenges. As I recall, Dr. Hanson, as I recall, we had about like 24 days of on-hand cash to run our school district. Can you believe that? 24 days. Help me if I make a mistake, okay? 27? It's okay for the superintendent to make it. So we had 27 days of on-hand cash. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When you have a $39 million budget that you're operating off, and here we are, we haven't even made it to the end of the fiscal year. The fiscal year ends June 30. That's frightening. Yes. To walk in the door as a superintendent, and you only got 27 days of on-hand cash, and you got 3 summer payrolls to make. 3 summer payrolls to make. I had to kick them all out of the room. I said, you stay. Ms. Baptist, you stay. I said, look, I don't know about y'all, but I can tell you all about basics bookkeeping, because you know, I think we all had to go through basic bookkeeping in high school, right? And what I discovered is that with Ms. Baptist, you can't have 10 cents and you spending 50 cents. Because guess what happens? You go into moral fiscal decay. Am I right? You go into moral fiscal decay, right? So I'm going to tell you, I was trembling because I said, you know, this Board of Education hired me to come on as a district superintendent, and we got, I think it's a trap. Mr. Chief, this is a trap. 27 days, and I got a summer payroll to make. Ms. Baptist and I sat down and I said, is it possible? She said, well, superintendent, it's possible. But we need to have, first of all, we got to borrow some money. And how you going to borrow some money if you ain't got a credit rating? I said, well, how is that going to be possible? I'm sorry for standing in front of you. I said, how is that going to be possible? She said, well, we can kind of petition to the credit agencies, and hopefully they'll do so. I said, listen, let's contact them tomorrow. She said, she was a little skeptical. She said, I don't know about that, superintendent. We tried it, and I said, they haven't met Mark Holden. They have not talked to Mark Holden. I said, they have not talked to Mark Holden. Let's get them on the phone. And then Ms. Baptist had an 8 o'clock conversation with those gentlemen. Were they from New York? Where were they from?
I don't know, but it's Standard & Poor's.
It was Standard & Poor's. You know, they're the biggest bargaining folks on Wall Street. And I'm saying to myself when I went home, you know, I prayed a lot. I went home and I said, you know, my maker, can you help me with this? And you know what? The next morning, when me and Ms. Baptist sat down with the people from Standard & Poor's, the gentleman said, hey, I don't know, we'll give you guys a call back the next day because we've heard some good things here. And we see that you're building a system of capacity in the school district. So let's try to entertain this conversation tomorrow morning. Ms. Baptist and I was there first thing in the morning. When the phone rang, she picked the phone up to discover that they said, hey, we like what we've heard yesterday. We've looked at the reports, and we see that the district is now starting to gain some stability as well as some capacity. So what we're going to do, we're going to start you out with an A+ rating. So we were able to borrow money, make our payrolls, and after that, it was history. I did a real short internal investigation on every one of our departments. And what I discovered is that we had, prior to this administration, we had departments that were spending, were going beyond their budgetary expenditures for the year. And I'm like, well, I get it. If you got 10 cents to spend and you're spending 50 cents every year, guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep falling further and further and further in debt. And I said, we got to stop that. And the one thing I can tell you about our illustrious finance director, she says she's liberal about everything, but I'm going to tell you, when it comes to money, what do they say? If it ain't about dollars, what? It ain't about cents. And I'm going to tell you, she makes sense every time we sit down. So as a result of that, we're not in deficit spending. We're a healthy school district. According to the Illinois State Board of Education, when you look at the end of our fund balance, we have revenues that we have coming in. I'll get into that a little deeper. I'll get into it on some of the other slides. And then we have expenditures. What we've learned is our revenues are kind of going up now. Our revenues are going up, and our expenditures are now kind of gliding straight across. So that means that we're not spending above our revenues. We're not expending above that. So now, for the last 2 years under this administration, we have a surplus of cash to run our school district. A surplus of cash. I hope I'm not boring because I was waiting on that clap. Okay. Let me get this out of the way so I can get my other folks in here so you can see how talented they are. 15 clubs and activities in the district. So that means we are growing socially, extracurricularly. We are growing. We're providing more activities for our kids other than our kids looking at a cell phone and playing with a cell phone all the time. We're giving them some exposure to develop some avenues of what? It's simple. Supporting one another, cooperating with one another. Our kids, they lack that control. They lack the socialization skills because they don't have to talk. At this age, they don't have to talk to each other no more. They can email and text each other. So as a school, we have to really focus on providing some other avenues for our kids to socialize healthily and functionally. Bus fleet, I'm really happy about this. Our bus fleet. 50% of all of our buses, our old, aged out, decrepit buses, are no longer here. They're in a scrap pile somewhere. We have the state-of-the-art. 50% of our buses now are brand new buses, and they have all of the technology in terms of cameras on those buses, seatbelts on those buses, and cameras around the outside of the bus. So in the event something occurs near that bus, we can capture that on our software program that we have in the district. So we always know what's going on around our buses and our buses on a day-to-day basis. We also have what we call a system, a part of the computer system, where it tracks our buses. So we know where those buses are all the time during the day they're in this district. We know where they are. We can pinpoint them and locate them with our GPS system. So our fleet, our bus fleet alone, it's just amazing. And guess what? Before this administration is done, we're gonna have all 23 of those buses gonna be brand new buses. And that's because, simply because we're very careful about the money we're spending now. We're putting money towards resources and capital development programs in our district so our district can thrive and grow. Have you looked at our district, the physical parts of our district since this administrator taken over? I'm gonna tell you, our school buildings look great. I had the opportunity to go in when we first got our school buildings done at the beginning of the school year. I was amazed and impressed at the work our custodians had done to have our buildings up and ready to go for our students. And believe me, take my word for it, every department here in Bellwood School District 88 is working synergistically. We're all connected. We're all focused on kids. So there's a lot of other things, capital development things we've done with our transportation department. I mean, it's amazing work we've done. Okay, $39 million budget, that's growing, okay? $39 million budget, that's what we basically spend to run our school district. But I'm gonna tell you now, we were doing something a little different when you look at the pie. You know what the pie graph looks like. There was an X amount of dollars spent for education for our kids in terms of per capita spending that we allocate towards our kids. Major difference in how that was being computed. Capital development programs, different way that was being computed. I really don't want to get into that because that's a part of our inherited challenges. But right now, we're functionally moving. I mean, our school district is now, the curb appeal of our school district now looks great because of the hard work that our custodians are doing with that, okay? 2 years with a balanced budget. When I came up here, I heard we hadn't had a balanced budget in so long, nobody could remember when the last time we had a balanced budget. So we're really excited about what we're doing with with the funding that we have here in the school district, and we know now that we're spending money where money needs to be spent. And again, I can't thank our Board of Education enough, because when we sit down and have these conversations about our bill list, we look at those bill lists very well. And all of my team members will tell you, when the bill lists come in, I have that bill list and I scrutinize that bill list like I'm paying my own bills at home. And you know, I don't want to spend money where I don't have to spend money. So we're really focused on how we're spending money. Okay, that does it by the numbers. The next piece is the state of the superintendent's address. Y'all thought I'd already did the address already. Y'all shouldn't let me sit down and not talk. I keep telling y'all I like to talk. All of my folks who that work with me in the past, raise your hand. Don't y'all know I like to talk? Raise your hand. There wasn't that many, thank you. Superintendent State of the District Address. There are 5 different areas that I'm going to speak on. And these are all pieces of the puzzle that we're putting together to develop that Renoir, that mosaic, that Jacksonian piece of art. These are the things that we have done, that we have done. Like I said, I'm going to use those 2 words interchangeably, we and us, because there is no such district as I. It don't work that way. All right, first, fiscal accomplishments. All right, set standards to drive financial stability in order to maintain Illinois State Board of Education recognition and establish the A1 credit for the first time. Y'all can clap, it's okay. Recognize 2 years on the state recognition for financial stability. And I'm gonna tell you what the deal is on that. And Attorney Miller, you can help me on this if I kind of step out of the path. You know, he's the expert on this. In the event that there's a windfall in your school district and you're not at what the State Board of Education indicates that you're to be at a 25%, is that a fund balance at the close of the year? 25%?
That's one of the elements.
That's one of the elements. Well, where's she at? Blow this chart up for me. Where's Stacy? Blow this chart up for me. And when you look at, okay, there we go. When you look at the chart, it is it's a calibration with, yeah, okay, calibration of a 5-year span, from 2015 to 2019. And basically what you can see in 2015, we were 59 days of on-hand cash in 2015. In 2016, there was a slight decline there to 46 days of on-hand cash, 2016. 2017, it dipped to 31 days of on-hand cash. Now look at what happened from May of 2017 to May of 2018, from 31 days to 128 days. And then from 128 days to 153 days right now in 2019. So as you can see, a district that had been plummeted with major fiscal issues is now growing to the point where right now we feel stable, but we're still challenging ourselves to get better. Now that we've had the ability to buy a variety of different programs that we know that are vetted, they're very practical, and we know that those programs are working. We don't have to buy programs anymore. We don't have to keep buying buses anymore. We don't have to keep buying other essential resources that we're now buying now to make sure that our kids are getting every good learning experience with the resources, updated resources. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Where's this? Next slide, you can load it up. Now this slide here is really, this is the second, this is operating revenues versus expenditures. Now in the red is the revenues, and as you can see, looking at the chart, where the red revenues are in the red. As you can see, we went from 29 million to 30 million to 33 million to 34.7 million. And as you can see in the blue, these were our expenditures. This is what we were spending. 30 that year, 31 the next year, the following year 31. So these 31.4 and 31.8 are our years. And as you can see, now that things are kind of tapering off in terms of what we're spending now. So that means we are spending now in a more practical, productive way, okay? So as you can see, when we ended this last fiscal year, we left the table with a surplus of 34.7 on the table, and our expenses were 32 million. So we leaving money on the table. We're not coming back every year with a deficit spending type of situation. Okay. I'm going to briefly go through this so I can tell them, because these folks are a little tired. They want to make sure they get inspired. Or I need to turn the air conditioner up. Infrastructure updates. Number one, we've identified our technology needs and drove the implementation of infrastructure upgrades and our classroom needs, such as new phone system, Chromebooks, acquisition of new tech hub. I got to say this, and I'm going to say this to my Board of Education and my tech director. We have done some phenomenal things in technology. And the one thing I can tell you, there's nowhere in the world that we can expect to give kids the best learning experience if we can't bring the global world to the classroom. When Mr. Daniels came on board and he assessed our technology infrastructure, this is what he said to me: "Doc, we need work. We need work, Doc. We need work." And as a result of that, he has strategically has gone into every last one of our buildings and looked at our needs and assessed them, and basically came back and gave me a real snapshot of where we were. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way in the world we're going to be able to do the things we need to do to keep our kids on the cutting edge of all the great things that's happening in education across the world if we don't develop our infrastructure. And again, thanks to our illustrious board, when Mr. Daniels brought the proposition to me, a proposal of all the things that need to be done in a real quick manner to just get us up to speed, our Board of Education did not hesitate in terms of putting a rubber stamp on that. And we got that, we started getting work done. Now, we still got a lot more work to do. But I will say this, in our district, every last one of our students have Chromebooks. Every one of our teachers now have brand new computers. That hasn't happened in Bellwood School District 88 in a while. So all of our teachers now have brand new computers with the interactive smart boards. What's this? Fix that meeting, dude. I don't want to mess this up.
Why don't you just stay right there?
I know Stacy's tired of me. I've been trying to have her working on this thing all the time. With the interactive, you can see right there the technology. Those are the interactive panels. Is that what we call that, Mr. Dan, the interactive panel? And I'm telling you, it's state-of-the-art stuff. It's stuff so state-of-the-art where our children have access to doing things on them. Our teachers have computers that are connected to them, where they can do a variety of upgraded technological things that they're doing in districts where they have a lot of resources. So now we're in that collective group of school districts where we have these resources to benefit our students. As you can see, there's our fleet of buses over there. Don't they look good? As a matter of fact, I had a couple pictures. I don't think they put the slides on where we stand by the bus.
They were in the first slideshow. There was a picture of all of the bus drivers.
Okay, so we got our new bus fleet there, and as you can see, we put new playgrounds on most of our schools. I think we got one school left, two schools left. As you can see, those playgrounds, and they're beautiful. I mean, there's a whole lot of safety. The surface is a safety surface where our kids can go out and play, and believe me, those kids have a genuine time. We just had a ribbon cutting ceremony at Roosevelt Middle School for our Thurgood Marshall students just a couple weeks ago, and it was a phenomenal event. And that was the birthing of the new playground for our Thurgood Marshall students at Roosevelt Middle School. And as you can see with the wonderful lady in the picture there, Ms. Peterson, she's one of our science teachers. We have what we call it, a Acellus, how do we pronounce that? Acellus, an Acellus STEM lab, STEM lab. That is, I mean, that it has all of the essential technology components to really give our kids an opportunity to express, to get a great experience with our STEM initiatives. And for all of you all who know about our STEM programs, we're doing some phenomenal stuff with that. We also have the acquisition of a new tech hub at Roosevelt Middle School, and for our parents, if you get an opportunity to go over there and check it out, it's state of the art. Mr. Daniels came to me with a suggestion about taking all of our tech people and putting them in one hub, having them in the brain of our tech facility. And I was like, oh, really? How are we going to do that? And as he explained and laid it out to me, I thought it was an excellent idea. Because now we have all our tech folks in one area. They're not all over the district. You have a better control, a better way of honing in all the skills and talents that they have. And they have we have what is called a help desk type of process, where in the event that teachers having some kind of technology issue, they type it in if they got an issue, and our tech, Mr. Daniels dispatch our tech people out to go fix those technology issues. And I'm telling you, you talk about efficiency at its highest level. One of the greatest things we did in the district, developing that new tech hub. Overseeing the purchase of buses and equipment and onboard cameras, phenomenal, and also approve the need of facility repairs. We've put new roofs on every building in this district. I want you to know that. Put new roofs. Now what we're doing is, in our classrooms, we're replacing carpeting, where year after year the whole allergens and all those other things where our teachers and our kids were having some issues with the carpet. Now we're removing the carpet, and we slowly but surely are getting to those what they call polyurethane floors. Epoxy floors, and they are beautiful. You have to see them. We've done them in several buildings in our district. Remarkable, and it's very, the maintenance on it is very easy. It's not hard as opposed to the words. We've got shampoo and all those other things. Okay, let's go to the next one. 21st century program. I already discussed what we did in curriculum, where we looked at all of our different programs and lined them together, so now we know our kids are getting the best learning experience from very highly vetted programs from practitioners who would say, or vetting educational practitioners who are saying these are great programs. Promoted, encouraged, and participated in professional development opportunities. Again, we are doing more professional development here in Bellwood School District than ever at any time before. And I'm very proud of the dollars that we're spending towards that, because that professional development is going across all of our departments, not just curriculum, it's going across HR, curriculum, special education, assessment, innovation and assessment. So we're at some point in time having some professional development training going on right in our house, where we used to have to go out to do that. Now we're doing it right here in our house. All right, let's also with the review of the district data for noting achievement gaps, and we discussed measures to close the gap. As you can see in the little chart, pie chart over here on the right side, we have progress, we have gain in our district, and I'm gonna say that the state now has come up with a whole different kind of rubric in terms of how they're looking at district success. And we're taking every bit of success when it's positive and it's moving in a positive direction. We are celebrating those successes. We have a lot to celebrate. And as I tell the team, let's celebrate today. And we celebrate for that little short period of time. We clap, we do the camaraderie thing, then we go back to work, because this work it never ends. Okay, review, we encourage STEAM and STEM activities and resources as a means to enhance student learning. We've had two of the biggest STEM events known to mankind, to the point we have folks coming from all around Proviso Township, and notably I get phone calls after our STEM fairs, not just from the educational practitioners, but from some of the local companies in Commonwealth Edison, People's Gas, are calling me telling me, yeah, we had one of our representatives at the STEM fair. It was amazing. They're looking at it in terms of this. These are potential young students that are going to come out and be working for them one day. So we have to look at it from that perspective. And as you can see, in the very bottom picture, you have Ms. Chambers, who is one of our tech individuals who really provides a lot of resource and training for our staff in-house. We sent her out a little while ago. We sent her out for Power School training. There's some new initiatives with Power School training. There's some other additional technological components to that. Am I saying that right, brother? Okay, there's some new technological components tied to that. We're realizing with Power School we can do a lot of stuff with other than just taking attendance. So she's learning that, she's learned that, and she's kind of pumping that out with professional development training that she's giving our teachers. As you can see, there's 3 programs that we've just brought into the district. Our Super Kids program, whether you all know this or not, this is a program that we brought on board, 2 years ago when we first came on board. Ms. Hanson and I, we get an opportunity to get out and go around the Proviso Township, because I'm a part of the Proviso Consortium of superintendents. All the superintendents in Proviso Township, we all work together as a professional, collegial group of professional educators, and we focus on all the things that we can do for kids in our township. And as again, we're not just Bellwood School District 88 and Proviso 209. No. We're all in this together. We're one Proviso. And these are some of the things that we've done with our Super Kids program. Part of this program initially, I'm not going to get too deep in it because I know that's part of your lane, is that we got kindergartners. Our kindergarten kids are coming out of kindergarten reading. I'm not talking about calling words. I had an opportunity to host the superintendents of the township to come in and see it. The superintendent, we did some amazing things. We took one of our new buses and we picked them all up. And we took them to several of our schools where they had an opportunity of an on-hands experience with what our kids were doing in Bellwood School District. And don't tell me the kids in Bellwood can't learn like the kids in Northlake and some of these other Elmhurst. Our kids can do the same thing that their kids can do, but guess what? We got to put the right people in front of them. And we have to make sure that we're providing programming that's going to meet their needs. And the other thing that's so great about this, we don't expect for anybody to de-escalate the whole mentality about what our kids can learn. Because when we hear that, what we're sitting down doing, Mr. Shiggy, we thinking about how we're gonna replace that person, right? And put somebody in front of their kids that are positive, motivated, and innovative, so that we know that our kids gonna be successful learners. It's part of the trademark. A kid that can read in first grade is gonna be a better reader in second grade, and third grade, and so on and so on. So actually what you're doing, your school district is giving that particular student all the essentials that they need so that they can be successful in life. And that's what it's all about. We go to school, we train our kids to do what? Get a good education to do what? Get a good job. That's what I tell kids all the time. Why are you getting an education? Well, you better think about it. Because at some point in time in your life, you're going to take on some responsibility. You're going to have a family and so on and so forth. So you're going to have to be able to read. Imagine Learning, that's part of our math program. This math program is just so, can I use this term, Madam President, off the chain? This program is so off the chain to the point where our math scores in Bellwood School District 88 is going up for the first time. And I've been around here 30 plus years. Our math program is going up. And it's because, again, the strategic planning coming from all of our folks, it don't matter whether you're in HR or you're in assessment, you're great. We all sit down together as educators and we say, does this program sound good? Well, Ms. Hanson, Ms. Larson, let's investigate this. Let's get out there and see what's being said about these programs. And as a result of that, we brought some magnificent programs that's yielding some great results in terms of our data and closing the achievement gap. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, close the achievement gap. Okay, let's go to an Amplified Science. That's a new program we got coming. It's, again, off the chain. Okay, governance and supervision. I can go all day on this. I always tell folks this. You have to discover what your gifts are. And I would say one of my gifts are a good governor. And what a good governor does, a good governor makes sure that everybody works alongside of them. And let me say this, you didn't hear me say the people that work for you. None of these folks work for me. They work with me. And as a result of that, this administrative enclave that we have here with all our leaders have really done a remarkable job in keeping me abreast of all the things that goes on. Because as I said to them, Bellwood School District 88 pays you quite handsomely to come here and do an effective job, and I'm going to hold you to that. And I'm fortunate that I don't have to micromanage, stand over intelligent people day by day to get them to do their job. And the greatest thing about all these leaders, they are driven. They are driven to do the very best and be the very best every day that they're here. And I will tell them, when you're not 100%, what do y'all do? Take a mental health day. Take one. So that when you come back here the next day, you're not going to give me 80%, you're going to give me 120%. Okay. Promoted job fairs and attract qualified candidates. We had one of the biggest job fairs known to mankind. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was impressed. They even asked me to do a video thing. I felt like I was a movie star. And it was amazing the candidates that we had that came out. And it was a very bona fide, very quality type of experience that we had with that job fair. So I think our team is going out to Iowa to recruit, because as you all know, we have a national teacher shortage all across the country. And the thing is, we're doing some very developmental things in terms of our curriculum department, our HR department, where we're now doing a teacher pipeline with the University of Dominican University, where we're developing our own teachers. So we have people within our community who have a degree. The state is now saying, if you have a degree, you can come into these programs and they can help to get you the things that you need to be an administrator, teacher. So we're really focused on. I went out with Ms. Hanson back just before the summer was out and met with the officials at Dominican University and talked about the programs that we're putting. And we're working in conjunction with 209, the high school district. So we do a lot of work together. Okay, salary compensation packet, phenomenal piece. We're now in Bellwood School District 88. We have to doing some very sound work about how we're going to structure our salary compensation packages. You know, prior, there was another one of our inherited challenges. We got in, there was no salary structure. We're paying people eeny, meeny, miny, moe, here, you can have the mo, that kind of thing. Now we've worked on our administrative team where we have a salary structure there, and now we're, along with our board president, we're working on a salary compensation package for our administrative leaders. in the central office. So that's some remarkable work being done there. Work diligently to maintain instructional environment for our students with IAP educational plans for each district. Right now, I'm going to be honest with you, this was something that really I was a little nervous about when I first came in. One of our inherited challenges is our special education department was all over the place. We were non-compliant in a whole lot of areas. Within a very short, quick time, Ms. Larson, our special education director, was able to amass a team of individuals where we collectively, and I was a part of that team as well, where we collectively had meetings with the Illinois State Board of Education and some of the special education experts across the country, or across the state of Illinois, I mean, where they actually worked with us to help us to put plans together and get our special education department in compliance. We just received a letter not too long, about a year ago, we received a letter from the Illinois State Board of Education commending us that we are in compliance with our special education program. So that was a good one. Okay, at last, right quick, we have a total of 386 staff members. Our certified staff is 210. We have 83 of our staff members with bachelor's degrees. We have 127 with master's degrees and 2 with PhDs. And I'd like to say, let's give our new PhD, Dr. Hanson, a hand. She just completed a doctorate degree from Concordia University, PhD in educational leadership, and we're excited about the direction she's going to go with our school district because she's the energizer bunny of the team. I hear her feet coming down the hall. Something I have to tell Pat, close the door. Now with our community partnerships, this is just really big. There's no way in the world that you can actually have a functional school district, expect the school district to soar without this main component. And what we've done, I've increased the transparency by sharing information with us on our district website. Our district website is just remarkably amazing now. It's very user-friendly. We have all of our district information on there, so at any point in time, parents need to be in the know of what's happening at Bellwood School District 88. It's there on our website. And the good thing is now, we're starting a push now to rebrand the school district, And when I say rebrand the school district, we're looking at kind of changing the look of what our website looks like to make it more colorful, okay? Engaging, informative. It's already informative, just engaging so that when people see it, it jumps out at you. So that's what we're working on. Developed relationships and collaboration with school board members, the Proviso Township Superintendent. As I said, I work with them. Every month we have a monthly breakfast where we sit down and strategize what we're going to do to continue to make our district and our school district and our township better, as well as our village leaders and our community leaders. Our village leaders and our community leaders are just magnanimous individuals. We have folks that are doing more volunteering from our community and our school district than any time before. We have some giant, what I call them the pillars. We got 2 major pillars out there that I call, they're ready to go and they're full of energy and they're fired up, and believe me, they'll pick that phone and call us in a minute. We got another program. Got another program. But the great thing about it is that they're doing some remarkable work and they're not getting paid a dime. But if you see the passion that these ladies have, Miss Walker, stand up, please. Could you please stand up? No, I ain't gonna put you out. I ain't gonna put you out. Scotty Rouse is not here today. Scotty Rouse is not here today. Now, they've just done some great stuff, but going into our middle school and helping our kids out with their community service hours, and they're doing some just remarkable work in our community. Established a community service room in Site-Philip Marshall for our district parents, and it's equipped with supplies and materials on site. Now, we do have a part of our population that don't have access to computers. They don't have access to the internet. I mean, and that's the real deal. We've opened up a parent community center under the where's Miss Crawford, stand up, Miss Crawford. Miss Crawford, Miss Bush, where we have connected, we have developed this community service room and a resource room, and I'm gonna tell you, you gotta go over and see it. It's equipped with computers, printers, and a lot of resource and material. So when parents come in, they need to do a resume for a job. They need to have access to some vehicle of communication. Somebody's trying to communicate, but they don't have a computer to access that information. It's right there at 3rd and Marshall, so they can go there and believe me, they take advantage of the room. It's a very conducive room to do the things that you need to do so that you can kind of move on with your life. So we're very proud about that room. And we've hosted a variety of different community gatherings there, and it's just been amazing stuff. Amazing work, amazing. Okay, let's go to the next. Is this my last one? Oh, thank you. All right. Okay. Here are the final pieces to our puzzle for our strategic plan. I'm going to tell you, I got another college professor, and my college professor is Ms. Sandra McClendon. And Ms. McClendon, I told her just recently, I said, I'm going to tell you, I should have 5 doctorate degrees with all the great stuff, the ideas that she bounces off of me. And then this is the interesting thing. I just think it's remarkable when we have board members who really are always constantly focusing on what we can do to better our school district and what we can do to better our children. And this is a Board of Education. This is what they do. I mean, we may have our little differences about this, that, and the other, but I'm going to tell you, I mean, I say this from the depths of my heart. These are some amazing people, and I'm going to tell you, they don't get paid to do any of this. They don't get paid to do any of this. They dedicate their lives, themselves, and I would say this, for the citizens of this community who voted them in as these elected positions, you should feel goose pimples and be very proud of the work that they're doing. And because I was saying, the superintendent, I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues in there, and they said, you're so fortunate, Mr. Holder, that you have a Board of Education that lets you do your job. They don't bother you. I mean, think about it. We don't have nobody coming in here raising no stink about Bellwood School District 88. It's like now we're not even on the map, but we're bigger on the map. We have a bigger footprint on the map. So I can't thank them enough genuinely for the work that they're doing. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my illustrious colleague, Ms. Karen Mitchell.
Just to let you know, because I'm the first director up, what we had to do, we had to take a picture, don't I look cute? Then we had to have a quote that governs us, and then we had to have our 5-year strategic plan. First year was what we accomplished last year. The second year is what we're going to accomplish this year, and obviously moving forward for the next 3 years. So the feminist and I, who likes to watch old-time movies, really wanted to put down that Ginger Rogers did everything that Fred Astaire did, but in high heels and backwards as my quote, but I had to go with the educator. The educator in me said, the more that you read, the more things you will know, the more that you learn, the more places you'll go. And that is by Theodore Dr. Seuss Gressel. Year 1, what I accomplished last year. Assessment postings met ISB, Illinois State Board of Education guidelines, provided multiple in-depth NWA MAP, professional development educator trainings, participated in data discussions with various stakeholders to improve performance. Year 2, which would be what I hope to accomplish at the end of this year, really into having accomplished many of these right now. From the pictures you saw, phase 1 of flexible seating rollout, acquire the RMS Acela STEM Lab, and held PD training. Aligned early release day PD with the STEAM Expo, that was our picture from the Brookfield Zoo. Analyzed Illinois assessment of readiness results for targeted population and provided improvement measures. So that's what I hope to accomplish this year, and I have done the first 3. Phase 2 of flexible seating rollout. I'm a big advocate for flexible seating, as you can see. Want to implement a pilot instructional delivery model to enhance student learning and develop a data discussion protocol and format. All of this ties into improving test scores as well as assisting our teachers to help our students to become better learners. Next year, year 4, would be phase 3 of flexible seating rollout. Can't accomplish it all in 1-2 years. Establish principle-driven discussions with an emphasis on cognitive, formative, and summative assessments, and note assessment trends and make informed decisions on program delivery and grade assignment. All of that is a bit wordy, but it is something that we are looking forward to do in analyzing all of our assessment and how we incorporate text and questioning in classes. And the last one is phase 4 of flexible seating rollout. Establish professional learning community discussions on reliable and valid local assessment, targeting appropriate intervention strategies, and acquire multicultural and diversity texts for school libraries. I'm a very big advocate on all cultures and races and genders being equally representative in all of our texts, and it starts in our libraries, where we also hope to have the rollout for flexible seating. I was on a timer, and I think I did well, Mr. Daniels.
I never thought I'd get up here.
You in front of that thing, dear.
I never thought I'd have the privilege to get up here and be able to say to you folks, finally, we got a board that can think outside the box. And the superintendent is right here. And the reason I'm saying that is several times I have tried to introduce, let's build a new school. And I might as well said I asked for $1 million raise, because that went right out the window. But we're fortunate enough to have a board and this superintendent that listens. He'll listen. Let's not throw good money after bad. So after a whole lot of meetings, a lot of deliberation with the president and Mr. Griffin, who is our chairman of Buildings and Grounds, we finally got a green light. Let's see what we can do with this new school. And I will show you what that looks like for the new McKinley. A little bit later, just a little bit later. I know everybody's tired, it's baby sleeping. Okay, we've done all the playgrounds, the handicap accessible ramp, transportation garage is up to snuff now. We have our yearly hazardous material class downstairs in the PD room. Radio communications, everybody now, the deans, the principals, you want that custodian, beep beep. There's no way you can get away. We made it so that I can hear you in here. So when people say, Mr. Packer, where are you? I hear you. So we're good with that. The epoxy floors, we're trying to get away from laminate. We're trying to get away from carpet. You will save the money in time, in labor, in just all around, it's better health. These epoxy floors are Class A showrooms.
Next year.
HVAC systems, everything's running good now. We have a new boiler, a chiller, I should say, on the top of Lincoln. This is half of this room, that's how big it is. And very good trained staff. Try our best to minimize what we're outsourcing. And a lot of times we have no choice. We don't have that equipment. We don't have a forklift. There's certain things we just cannot do. Like PA systems. Let's do it. Grounds management, I'm on it all day long. You have no idea. Establish a preventative maintenance checklist. We have that, but now we have these radios. People don't even bother with writing anything down. Mr. Birdie this or Mr. Birdie that. I hate Mr. Birdie at the end of the day. I hate myself. Okay, we're gonna do all of the floors little bit by little bit. Because to do a epoxy floor in an average classroom is $5,000. But this is what I'm saying, we're going back to thinking outside the box. Before I was told, just shampoo it, let it go. All that time it takes to shampoo it, could I have this done once and for all? So thank you, Mr. Holder, for hiring. Professional development, yeah, we're doing that. We're doing that. Believe me, we're doing it. I got so many books downstairs, I'm ready to have a library card. Great. Come on, Stacy. That's it. Oh, we have it in my school. We have it in my big kid.
You can't leave. You can't leave that door.
Mr. Holder will show you my pictures of the kid.
You trying to leave? No, you stay. Don't try to leave.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry that I have to go after you, Mr. Birdie. Now I don't know if I'm going to have the comedic relief. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to hear our wonderful strategic plan updates this evening. My quote is, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Everybody knows, we know that I'm a lifelong learner. So first year, one of the things I did when I took over the curriculum department was do an audit to really look to see what type of curricular resources we had. And in doing that, I also aligned all of our reading and math resources to the standards, as well as completed a curriculum review cycle. So basically looking at all of our resources and aligning it so that we know strategically over the years how we would make those big purchases when we're adopting new curricular materials. So that was done year one. Year two, we also implemented the first year of Super Kids, which is for our kindergarten students. So in this second year, we're in year two of Super Kids implementation, and as Superintendent Holden talked about earlier, it's going fantastic. We are really happy with what we're seeing with the program, and we're going to continue through second grade implementation next year. Also this year, we will be doing a district-wide, developing a district-wide MTSS committee, which is really a multi-tiered system of support. So really looking at our intervention model. What are we doing when kids are not responding? How are we going in and providing interventions for kids? And so we're going to be working with some strategic partners this year to make sure we have a plan of how we're going to approach, what we're doing when kids are not making the gains that we would like to see them make. Also, we are happy, thank you so much to the Board of Education for the coaches. We just had our principal and coaches retreat. We now have instructional coaches that will be helping us to go in and continue to develop those instructional best practice strategies within the classroom. So we are fired up and ready to go with that instructional coaching model. We also adopted Amplify Science. Again, we had a little rough start, but now we have all of our materials, our digital platform is up and going. So we know that it's going to be, great once we get all of the pieces and all continue to provide that systematic training all the way around the board. Year three, professional learning is something that is a big push in my department. So really, again, as Superintendent talked about earlier, making sure that we have targeted professional learning opportunities for everyone, all the way across the board. So I will continue to make sure that, and working with HR, we're going to be doing a professional learning library online, so that through the evaluation process, if teachers are having some difficulties, classroom management or need some assistance with implementing strategies, they'll have a library that they can access. And so we're gonna be working on that partnership. And then this year, we're gonna be piloting, our license is up for our reading program. And so we have to pilot a couple of different options this year, and then we will be adopting a new core reading program for 3rd and 5th grade. So that will take place next year. Year 4, standards-based report card. You know, we really need to make sure that we're looking strategically at, are the kids meeting the standards? And the only way to do that is to have a standards-aligned report card. You know, because it's good to have A's, B's, C's, and D's and F's. Well, it's not good to have D's and F's, but I mean, it's good to have those grades, but really, what is it telling us? It's really not telling us if the kids have met the standards. So this is something long-term that we want to put a committee together so that we can really inform parents about this, teachers, so that we all are working together as a united team to ensure that we have a solid reporting system for our students and that it's really matching what the standards are trying to do. Also, working with Mr. Garza, our bilingual coordinator, we want to do some dual language pilots. Ultimately, we would like to develop a dual language program here at Bellwood School District 88. He's doing some amazing work. I have to give it up to Mr. Garza. He's doing some amazing work with our bilingual program, so we want to continue to build on that work and develop that dual language program. And then that will be the year when we have to adopt a new math program. So next year, we'll start looking at curricular resources to make sure that we, again, are making sure that all of our curricular resources are aligned to the standards, right? Because that's what's really going to give us a good gauge as to whether or not we are truly preparing our kids for what they need to be prepared for a global society. And then lastly, that will be the year when we'll have to adopt a new social science curriculum. And then again, we want to just continue to provide that meaningful and targeted professional development. And that's all it costs.
Hello everyone, I'm Jan Baptist. I don't have a lot to say. I'll let my saying say it for us. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret to getting started is breaking down your complex, overwhelming tasks into smaller, manageable tasks, and then starting with the first one. And that's basically what finance has and will continue to do. Ms. Holder sort of made it dramatic, but no, I'm sorry. I'm being. But in reality, it is true that after a couple years of being on financial warning, in his 2017 when he came in, I did inform him that we would be on financial watch. With that, which is the worst designation, 2017, that's where our cash was at the lowest, our spending was most dispersed, and we did start the steps, one step at a time. The state did require us on a quarterly basis to put in our financial plans, actually, or we had to do it by month, telling them what we planned on spending on. Took meetings and a lot of saying no to Joe. Do we have to do it all right now? IT, I know you need $2.5 million, but let's work out a 5-year deal. We can't spend it all at one time. And that's basically what finance has been doing. We don't spend money. We just have been trying to do a better job of anticipating the needs that the other departments need and trying to come up with the best long-term process where we won't go broke overnight. So that's basically what we've been doing. This year, any other employees know we've implemented a new general ledger system that actually township-wide. I think its implementation has been somewhat successful. We still got some kinks we're working out, but it's online in real time, and by the time everybody gets used to it, it's going to be no more of the database where you have to get a paper report. Just go out and see what's happening. The other thing that we have been working on throughout 2017, when we did go on Financial Watch, we had 12 deficiencies in our financial accounting and controls. Last year we're down to 2. still negotiating, was on the phone today trying to get to one. Me and Irish, we trying to work that out. We trying to get rid of all our deficiencies and present just basically a solid financial process where everybody understands how the money flows and how they understands the impact of what they're asking for and being open. As many of you all might know, and those who don't, the state has required and is continuing to require a lot of financial data-driven information. Site-based reporting, we have reported in October, you all will be seeing it. The leaders already have seen it, but we're now required to report how we're spending every dollar by student, by location, by site. So we're staying informed, staying ahead of the game. And with that additional database reporting, actually are having the conversations of equitability as we look beyond the different schools and trying to develop long-term forecasts. Once we get that done, you see sort of general, but finance, we just gonna try to stay ahead of the game. As the new rules come out, we plan to anticipate them and do what the state and or the federal government requires so that we can maximize our revenues. And lastly, once everything's in control, only then will I might commit to things I said right now is not part of our automated system. And I was like, once everything else is done, then we'll deal with fixed assets and try to put that in the general ledger system if I haven't won the lottery by it.
Yeah, so that's not the picture that I actually submitted to Stacy, so I just want to make sure. So we were tasked with coming up with a quote, and I literally joked and said, yeah, we should all have rapper quotes, right? But I actually put a rapper quote because I honestly feel as an HR director in education, the moment you feel that you can't learn from the common man is when you face problems. So I quoted Jay-Z. He's a poet, he's a businessman, he's a philanthropist, he's an activist. And it says, because I don't have on my glasses, Stacy, be more concerned with your character than reputation. Character is about who you really are, where reputation is merely what people think of you. And so that gets at the heart of what HR has had to overcome. Any HR department, any organization or school district faces a problem. People like you if they're not in trouble with you. But if you have to go to HR for an issue, they don't particularly care for you. And so I've likened this, I kind of did a little bit of something different from my colleagues, to a space shuttle re-entering the atmosphere, right? So gravity will naturally pull you back and to Earth, but gravity alone would cause an object to fall dangerously fast. Once the object falls, it hits and it rubs against certain particles, and that'll create a friction. And then that friction causes the object to drag, or air resistance, which slows the object down to safer re-entry speed. So HR has definitely embodied all of that. So what have we done? You just don't want to know what we've done. You want to know what we've done with taxpayer money. So we get that. We've created a new employee handbook. Whether they like it or not, that is the district law. And that needed to be implemented. It was just 3 sheets of paper in the past, and now you have 47. You're welcome. We have facilitated the first district Hispanic Heritage Festival, and we look forward to implementing and bringing in the first Black History Month family dinner. We have assisted with the full implementation of Infinite Visions. So I don't know where you're at, Stacy, but just like I said, I think outside the box. Follow along if you can. We have created the comprehensive recruitment plan in conjunction with our bilingual coordinator, Mr. Garza, as well as our our director of curriculum and curriculum department. We've also created an administrator total compensation package, and we look forward to the district level compensation package as well as my colleagues do. We have created a district wellness program to offer free screenings last year, and then this year we are offering free flu shots to all employees who do have insurance through the district. So we're excited about that. That is October 29th, so please come to work with your insurance cards. We are creating a curriculum, Mr. Greza, to offer Spanish classes to our English-speaking parents and to offer English classes to our Spanish-speaking parents beginning in the spring of 2020. This is a district Spanish. Making sure that, we have to be able to communicate with each other. Like I said before, if you don't believe in talking to the janitor, just because you sit in a position that's harder than a janitor, then I'm sorry, you're lower than the janitor. And so we have to be able to communicate with each other, and that's one way we feel that we will. So we're excited about that. So this year, in order to identify and remove barriers to hiring, we will be conducting stay interviews. I did have an opportunity to speak with Superintendent Holder about stay interviews. I typically only see people at the entrance interview and then, if they want to, the exit interview. So stay interviews happen when we have senior people, whether they're support staff or they're certified teachers, and we want you to stay. And we want to see, why are you staying in School District 88? What gets you to stay? What can we do better? These interviews will be conducted just with myself, and the administrator will not be allowed to be in the room, which means that that gives a very honest view of actually how the district can move forward. And those are some tough conversations that we have. And that's some data that we actually have to be very concerned with. And that'll help us with our pest analysis. Now, some people have asked what the pest analysis is. Those are contributing factors to what happens in a school district or organization. Is it political? Is it economical? Is it social? Is it anything with technology? So that's what we're looking for. Year 3, our goal is to expand our strategic partnerships. And we've actually had the assistance of Dr. Hanson with all of her various partnerships and with Dominican University, and we're excited about continuing our partnership with curriculum. We have a desire to expand and enhance training, mentoring, and leadership opportunities. Hopefully we can get some of that data from the pest analysis and our state interviews to actually help us move forward towards our focus group as well. Year 4, our goal is to facilitate a 360 performance evaluation. That will probably be one of the most difficult things that we'll have to do. The 360 evaluation lets employees evaluate their manager, or evaluate the superintendent, or evaluate the principal, or assistant principal, or director. That means that you have to be open, not to just criticism, but to constructive criticism as well, about how your employees view you, because once you don't do that, then that's when you start losing those good people. Year 5, establish administrative procedures in order to maintain Bellwood School District 88 in compliance. We're not just doing that in year 5, we believe that we've been doing that every year. So we've had the gravity. It's pulled us back to the center, which is the core of servicing the students and the families of School District 88. We certainly met some friction trying to overcome those obstacles that hit each and every HR department of the school district. And then we've had the resistance to the drag, which has been with the assistance of Superintendent Holder, my colleagues, which I really appreciate you all, each and every one of you in the Board of Education, for all of your support that you give us. HR is really humbled by your support, and so we thank you. We look forward to moving the school district forward along with your assistant superintendent. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My quote is, fair isn't everyone getting the same thing. Fair is everyone getting what they need in order to be successful. One of the most difficult challenges in our classroom is meeting every child's needs, because whether you have an IEP or not, every child, every human has a different need. And it's difficult for teachers to meet those needs in the classroom. Year 1, last year, we implemented an inclusive environment in our early childhood center by creating blended classrooms where children with IEPs, children without IEPs, and the stakeholders who service those children provide all of the services inside that classroom. Less and less children are being pulled out to get their speech services, to get their occupational therapy services. All children are getting speech and language development at the early childhood level, so that's been a great success. We have brought in a progress monitoring tool. The name of it is FastBridge. It'll help us to target children that are in our bottom, in our tier 3 of supports, and to provide the interventions and the tool, the progress monitor, to see what type of progress is being made. It'll go hand in hand with our MTSS platform to provide what we need for our students. Last year, we implemented our CHAMPS classroom management strategies. It was a district-wide rollout to give teachers. It is not a program that is the same in every classroom. It allows every classroom teacher to develop their expectations in their classroom based on what they prefer, what the needs of the children in the classroom are, because no two classrooms of children are the same, and they have different needs, so the teachers have the flexibility of creating those expectations based on the needs of the children sitting in those seats. And we began bringing in outside supports to help our children at the middle school with social emotional programs. We brought in NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and we brought in Alyssa's Mission, which develops suicide prevention strategies for our children. Suicide, if you listen to the news, is on the rise. Last year there were 5 suicides in the Proviso Township area. It was very devastating for everybody that works in our districts and in the Proviso area. We take it very seriously. We're going into year 3 of our prevention program, and we're starting to see some more success with the kids asking for help. You know, that's the first step. And if we start them early, that's maybe they can make a different choice by the time they get to high school. Year 2, which is where we are at now, we are again rolling out the 2nd year of our progress monitoring tool. We have a workshop, a PD coming this Friday for all of our reading specialists and our special education staff. They're going to learn how to target specific skills, how to put in plans and interventions into place to target those skills and to close that achievement gap so that children will be more successful. Thanks to the school board, we were able to purchase a supplemental reading curriculum that goes with our, that supports our reading for grades 2 through 6 to try to target those foundational skills that many, many children, not only with IEPs, but mostly all of our IEP students have foundational skill gaps, foundational reading skills here. So we were able to purchase that. We're going to roll that out in November, and we're very excited about that to try to give more support to our students. We have expanded our CHAMPS in the Classroom program this year with our 2nd year of PD and 2nd year of the teachers becoming more comfortable with it and working on getting those 3-to-1 positives in the classroom. It's very important for kids to hear more positive comments when you're trying to change those inappropriate behaviors. They tend to want to hear the teacher say, "Good job," rather than getting yelled at. And we are continuing to expand our social emotional supports at Roosevelt Middle School. Next year, we want to continue to close the achievement gap with the use of the progress monitoring tools and the curriculum that is being purchased and rolled out this year. We are going to try to expand on it next year with our 7th and 8th graders. This year we have a committee to begin adopting restorative justice practices district-wide to improve the culture and climate in our buildings. The purpose of that is to cut back on suspensions. The research shows that when children are in classrooms learning, the achievement gap lessens, and when there's more suspensions, that achievement gap continues to grow larger. So we're going to start working on that this year, and that also goes with the MTSS platform. Year 4, build on the strategy and the programs needed to continue to close that achievement gap, strengthen the use of the restorative practices, and full implementation of a social emotional learning program. We have not yet adapted a core learning program for our social emotional, but we're going to be looking at different programs to start rolling out next year. And year 5, to educate 70% of our students in the general education setting. Students with IEPs will achieve at the 25th percentile or higher, and the social emotional supports will reduce suspension, improving student achievement. Thank you.
Did you duck?
I wish I was like you, but somebody left the phone. Yes, good evening. Board of Education, community members, teachers, colleagues.
Think about it.
My quote is, the paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated. So, might be something to think about tonight. So, technology, just to give you guys a quick overview, we most of our tasks and responsibility and projects are ongoing. Because as you know, technology is ever evolving, and working close with curriculum, we have to be ever evolving as they change the curriculum to meet the needs for our students. So, bullet point 1, support curricular initiatives, install interactive panels to support Super Kids, which was a K-2 rollout. We installed several interactive projectors. We replaced our enterprise communication platform that's a big word, so we'll just say phone system. But no one any longer in technology says phone system. It's a communication platform because it's a very comprehensive piece of technology that goes beyond just a telephone. You have chat, you have video chat, text chat, and there are several other features. As we begin to evolve our district network refresh project, we'll begin to roll out some of those other features to our community here at 88. So that's that. System-wide surveillance system for the district. All of our schools now and the administration center have working perimeter surveillance 24 hours a day. So. We just finished, I don't know if any of you have been in 88, but one of the first things I told Mr. Holder when I got here in 17, I was ready for our copies to go that day because the shape of the fleet was horrible. So thanks to the district and Mr. Holder, they approved me to go out and work with Ms. Baptist to go out and solicit for a new vendor. And our new vendor, we chose to go with the Canon product. If any of you all, Canons don't break down too often. So, we should have a pretty reliable, hold on, back up. And then the district-wide network infrastructure refresh. So I'm still waiting for us to get out of a holding pattern for that, but that's going to be an amazing project for this district. We have, even with many of the changes that have been done with our network since I've been here, we still continue to have various network challenges. A lot of times you all don't see them, sometimes you do. But that's one of the ongoing responsibilities that we continue to try to perfect or adjust what we currently have to meet the needs. So we can go to year 2 now. Okay. District-wide refresh project. Chromebook take-home program for middle school. That will go in conjunction with the 3rd bullet point. We're at a point, Chromebooks are designed to last 3 to 4 years. We're in our 5.5 year, or 5.5 year of the Chromebook fleet that we have. So, Mr. Holder and some of the other leadership team, we're gonna have a meeting to discuss how we're going to approach refreshing our Chromebooks that are end of life. And And so once we come up with that strategy to resolve this issue, then we will go ahead and proceed with the take-home program for middle school, classroom management tool for managers to manage students' Chromebooks. So many of our teachers, not only just our teachers, but teachers across the United States, have a hard problem with keeping kids on task with Chromebooks. Kids, there's always, I understand one thing, a lot of people say, well, I thought you had that block, thought you had this block. There's always a way around everything in life. We should all know that. But for those of us who don't know, there is one. And sometimes some of our kids, we don't even, the sad part is we don't even hone in that these kids had an aptitude to figure that out. And so instead of figuring that, honing in on that skill set and cultivating that skill set for that child, they're gonna get penalized in some way, but in some ways we kind of persecute the child, you know. But anywho, the classroom management tool is designed to, a teacher can keep all Chromebook devices on the same website. The kids can't divert from it. It keeps track of their web utilization, their histories, things of that nature. So you can get quite a few analytics from this program as well. So myself and Ms. Tomkinson and Mr. Pliggy are working to identify what would be the most appropriate solution for our enterprise. District website refresh, that's a project that's on the table for this year. We will be rolling out a new website for next school year at the very latest. It may be before then, but 2021 will be the absolute latest for our district-wide refresh. And next year, the plan is to get the insides of our campuses lit up with surveillance. We got the perimeter, but if you can't see who's inside, you know, it can be a challenge. So we want to make sure that our students are safe, we want to make sure our staff are safe, and we want to make sure when incidents come about that we can validate what happened. So, thank you. Again, continue supporting curricular initiatives, K-2 second grade Chromebook, cartridge refresh, and roll it. Laptop refresh, which that goes into, I create a hardware life cycle for our district, which never existed. So what that means is that you won't have the laptop that we issued in 2017 and 2027. Okay, we have a hardware life cycle that supports shorter intervals, and that all will be based on the gatekeeper right here. I see her looking.
Can't do it all at one time. I'm doing it in stages.
I see her looking at herself. And just to, very possibly, we might replace our enterprise firewall. The one we currently had does a great job, but I have a preference for a couple other products besides what we have that I'm more familiar with. So we'll see, and we'll have to replace our core switches as well. So go ahead, Lexi. And lastly, support curricular initiatives.
Up again. Mr. Stafford, I pretty much kind of have gone over some of the things that we've done in transportation, so I'm just going to brief. Mr. Stafford couldn't be with us today, so I'm going to step in for him. Our first year, he purchased handicap accessible van, and that was, the van was purchased to, hopefully within the next couple of years, we'll be able to transport all of our handicapped students to and from school. We're going to have to contract out any other bus service outside. That's part of our initiative. Implemented a new software system that creates efficient bus routing, which is phenomenal. Restored maintenance pits for mechanical repairs. One thing we noticed, we were sending out our buses to have them repaired for small things that we could have done in-house, because we do have repair people in our district that could do those things, but they didn't have the the pits prepared the way they need to go under and do the work. So we did a refresh overhaul of the entire transportation system. New floors, new garage doors, we painted the entire facility inside, and it's really it's a really state-of-the-art transportation system. So we're really proud of the work that's being done over there. And we just recently, thanks to the Board of Education again, we just recently put a brand new lot over at the transportation department. We were having major issues with major potholes, and you know, when the weather is inclement, it's raining and snowing. With the potholes, it's a good possibility one of our drivers could have gotten injured. And you know, by the grace, we haven't had those problems. But the new parking lot over there is phenomenal. I mean, it's just great work that's being done. And there's some other things that we're looking at in terms of.
We got a new break room with a big screen TV, new bed.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Thank you very much, Ms. Hunter. Just want to also say this. This presentation, excuse me, I'm so sorry. This presentation is informational. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, if you don't mind, you can put it on our card and get it to my office. I will have all of my directors to give you their business cards at the end of this presentation. So if you need to contact any of our departments, you can do so. Anything you send to me, I will address it as aggressively as I possibly can. Because one thing that we want to make sure is that your concerns are addressed here in Bellwood School. Okay, we've purchased 9 out of 18 new buses since 2017. 50% of our new fleet is efficient. We've implemented new professional learning platforms for transportation staff. It is amazing the work that's being done district-wide in terms of professional development. And that's one of the things that we're really proud of here. We're doing the internal training. We have people already in-house that can do the training. So we're going to continue to better our people, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our people have everything they need, so that when our transportation fleets are out there, we have the best people known to mankind with our children. At the end of the day, I want good people with my kids. Whether they're sitting in front of a classroom or they're sitting on a bus, I want to make sure we got the best people that we can provide for our district in those buses. The cameras have been installed on all the buses, and this is one of the things I've said to all of our building administrators. Yes, the cameras are installed on all the buses. Yes, they do work, but for little small issues where the bus attendants are writing bus conduct reports, please don't ask to see the cameras every time you got an issue, because now you're trying to figure out what kind of administrative decision you're going to make in terms of discipline and consequences. Just do the consequences, okay? Give the kids the consequences, because that takes a lot of work on our part to go pull cameras. I've seen our transportation directors do that, pull the cameras. Now, when the police ask for it, we give it to them. But it's, you know, you just don't want to have to do it for every little incident. Use your own discretion, your administrative discretion in terms of dealing with discipline issues. Okay, year three? Year three? Yes. Okay, continue to upgrade the fleet, because we want to get all those old buses out and put in all new buses and maximize our fleet, so that we know that our kids are being transported with the best safety devices and mechanisms that are on those buses. Integrate student information software with transportation software. We're doing some amazing things with our just with information. We all know the key to any successful organization is communication, how we communicate with one another. So we really heightened our abilities to communicate with our transportation department. Next. Increase transportation fleet and staff to manage all the district's student needs, and to improve student tracking software. The software for the buses now is so sophisticated that we can actually track kids when they get on and when they get off the bus. Let's say a parent calls and asks the question, my son, my daughter didn't make it home. We can actually track what time they got on that bus and when they got off of it. The technology is just that sophisticated, and we have it. So we want to make sure at some point in time, when we start eradicating the decaying part of our fleet, that we bring in the new fleet, so we'll have 100% coverage all the way across the board in the transportation department. Next. We're going to continue to upgrade our fleet of buses and improve all of our district student transportation. One thing that I can say, this is notable, coming out of the building level as a building principal and coming into the administration center, I recall quite vividly when there were issues within our transportation system. I just always took anecdotal notes in terms of what we can do to better our fleet and what we can do to make sure that all the folks that are working in our transportation department is really adhering to children first mentality. And what I discovered is the reason why we were having major issues is because of the relational kinds of things. Our bus people weren't communicating with our kids, and our kids weren't communicating with our bus folks, which means that there was a relationship situation going on. And once I got into the central office, that was one of the things I brought to the transportation director. I said, hey, look, we got to really focus on developing relationships with kids. I was a building administrator for over 20 years, and the one thing I can tell you, I can get kids to do anything. And how was I able to get kids to do anything? By developing the relationships that I've developed with them on a day-to-day basis. It's real interesting when you get to know a kid's name. Kids are really big on you knowing them. When you see them for the first time and they say, hey, Mr. Holder, and I can say, hey, Johnny, what's up? You know my name? Absolutely. That's the beginning phase to developing good relationships. And this is what I want to say about our bus department, our transportation department. They have done a remarkable job in creating relationships with our kids. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really thought that I was going to have a barrage of phone calls coming to my office regarding that. Very rarely do I ever get a phone call from any parent about our transportation director, our transportation department, our bus drivers, the bus aides. They're doing a remarkable job transporting our kids to a bus. Okay, that does it for all of our departments. And I would just like to just briefly say, because I know people are getting kind of tired now, and this has been long. This is the first State of the District address, and I know it was quite lengthy. But we just wanted to make sure that you got a really good glimpse into our school district and see the things we do. These are things on the horizon that I want to accomplish in my time here. Number one, continue with our capital development improvement upgrades, which means that we know that we have some decaying facilities here in the district, but we're working quite tangible with our building grounds to make sure that our structures are well kept. And when you look at our buildings, or they're out of our buildings, they're very well kept, even though they're aging facilities, they're very well kept. We want to make sure that they're safe for our kids to have a good learning environment where they can thrive. Second, continue to develop an innovative and creative program. Mr. Daniels pretty much said it all. He said it all. We all know that technology becomes obsolete 2 days later. We put it in today, 3 days down the road, it's starting to become obsolete. So we're continuing to stay on the cutting edge and making sure that all of our technology needs are up to par so that our kids can still gain maximal pieces of development as they continue to grow academically. The next is to investigate. No, I'm going to say that for last. Number 4, working with the Board of Education to rebrand our district. What I mean by rebranding our district, we have already put a new face on Bellwood School District since this administration has been here. And when I say this administration, I'm talking about our Board of Education, all of our directors, as well as all of our teachers. We have rebranded this district. This is not the same Bellwood School District 88. This is Bellwood School District 88 on the rise. So we're going to continue to do that. There's some other little things that we're going to do to add some more facelift kinds of things to our district. But again, this is a district that we're very proud to work in now. I don't know what y'all think, but I'm busting with energy and all the time because of what we're doing here at Bellwood School District 88. And last but not least, we're investigating ways to secure funding for the development of new schools. We realize that 21st century educators and 21st century learners have to be on the cutting edge of all the exposure and all the nuances of what progressive education looks like. With our STEM initiatives, we're trying to develop the best children that we can possibly develop, because eventually at some point in time, a lot of these children are going to come right back home. And guess what happens when we develop good students who are getting a good, wholesome education? They come back and they make our communities better. They make our school districts better because they're providing a way of life for our community. So we're really excited about when I came on board, I sat down and had a meeting with our board president and Mr. Griffin, our board vice president. I basically kind of threw it out there. I said, you know, I had one of my creative moments, and I was like, wow, we haven't talked about building a school here. I was telling people, we haven't talked about building a school here in Bellwood as well. They were looking at me, and I walked through the door. I said, I tell you what, we're gonna build a school before I leave here. Like, really? I said, yeah, we're gonna build a school before I leave here. Now, this is the plan. Right now, the Governor J.B. Pritzker, has put together an educational task force. And that part of that task force, their responsibility is looking at the capital development programs across the country. School districts all over the state of Illinois who are looking to develop their capital infrastructures. And we have already put together a proposal that we've already sent to the governor. And now, in the spring, the governor will be convening a meeting with our state rep, Chris Welch, and Senator Lightfoot, where they've been appointed by the governor to be a part of the educational task force. And what they're going to do is look at ways in terms of how they can fund school districts like ours to build schools. And we kind of fall within the requirements regarding what they're looking at with their litany of requirements in terms of what schools that they're looking at in terms of giving financial support to. And I think we fall within the realm of that. So we're excited about when they come back to the table, and they're supposed to be coming back to the table in the spring. And I want to be there with our board president, our board vice president, Mr. Birdie. He's our building and grounds captain here, to sit down and see how some of that money can be channeled our way. If not all of it, most of it. From what I was told, it's going to cost about $19 million to build this new school. And the name of the school will be Jesse White STEM School. And Jesse White is really a strong proponent for helping Illinois schools across the state of Illinois and helping with capital development projects like this. The building, we sat down and met with our architect by the name of Callahan. He's done a lot of work here in our school district for years. And we asked him to do a rendering of two of our sites. Thurgood Marshall was the first site. I'm not going to get into all the reading of what went into that. But in McKinley Elementary School. So we looked at both sites, and we strategically looked at how each site would be more how they would be to be more beneficial to the community and to the school district. And I think after we had a lot of lengthy discussions about that, we decided that the McKinley site would be the prime site for the building of the new school. Now, I'm not going to get into all the little logistics, but that's not my lane. Save that for the architects of the building, which we will have another meeting. We will discuss this. I'm looking at kind of doing the thing that they're doing in District 87, where they're doing like some surveys to the community. And there's some other logistical things that we're going to lay on the table in terms of what this should look like. But we really want our community input in this, because again, we're considering this to be a community school, because when you look at what we're going to have inside of that school, it's going to be a school that's going to be designed for educating our kids with a 21st century mindset of education, as well as this being kind of like an intergovernmental facility that our community can have the opportunity to enjoy. For example, a lot of the events that we do in other little places like the Chamber, the Rotary Club, and the district, when we do our African American history and our Hispanic heritage program, we can do that stuff right here in the district. We don't have to go out outside of our walls, if you will, to do this. So I'm going to let Mr. Birdie do this. He does this architectural stuff better than I. So Mr. Birdie, I'm going to ask you to take the floor.
Okay. Very briefly, because I know everybody's tired. One of the major reasons why McKinley was picked, so we could say we could still have the ball field, but that's the only ball field that we have. So with that being said, we decided If we kick it, if we take McKinley down and go 3 stories high, there will be, like Mr. Holden said, it's a whole new concept in learning. There is no more lunch tables that are 9 feet long. Individual tables is what they do now. There you go, that's the cafeteria. That would be what McKinley would look like. There is 67% more glass in this building than you have in our newest school, which is Roosevelt. There's more glass in here than you can imagine, which brings in natural light. You'll see it as we keep going, right, Steve? There you go. Take a look at this.
That would be a STEM class right there, science, technology, engineering, math class. And as you can see, the portability of light coming through there, it's a very open surface, but yet still it's highly lit with glass, where the surrounding is glass.
If you notice, well, this is for the little ones, but if you notice, there's no more desks anymore. It's groups that work together, along with the teachers and TAs and all that.
It's that flexible seating that Ms. Mitchell was referring to when she did her piece. As you can see, there's the classroom on the bottom right. That's the classroom where it's kind of flexible, with the flexible furniture. Different classrooms. That will be the lunchroom, the cafeteria, and the auditorium. It's a multi-purpose room. As you can see, there's bleachers there. From what we were told by the architect, you can seat over 1,000 people in the cafeteria auditorium. All round tables. This is our gym, multi-purpose gym, gymnasium, as well as a stage on the gym, so we can do some things with our fine arts department in terms of plays and things of that nature. Next.
That's
I
all.
think that's it. Okay.
More to come.
That all got done with this board and Mr. Holden.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Giles.
Good job.
That is beautiful. And I have one question.
Is that, what are you talking about, my picture, or?
But Bellwood has a 2-story zoning limit for buildings. Is that going to change?
Yes. We need,
That's beautiful.
We'll definitely have all of the village leaders here when the architect gets in the final rendering of what that'll look like, Ms. Giles. Any other questions?
No, I think, just to piggyback off the superintendent and the entire presentation, but especially the ending of, the school that was presented, this is the vision of our future for District 88 and what we want to have for, our children and our staff here within District 88. We are just in the beginning planning stage. As superintendent said, we will start the facility planning. We will have different surveys go out, meetings, and get committees together to get more input. But it is something that, as this entire board and administration, that we are moving forward for the future of District 88.
So, I just want to say one thing. With all that being said, we are the future of District 88.
Yeah.
We got one more piece, this is the final piece of the presentation.
oh, yeah.
everybody has done such a beautiful job. I mean, beautiful job. This is spectacular. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to close by saying, I want to just thank a few other people. Madam President, again, thank you so very much, and the leadership of the board and all of our board members for your continued efforts and trying to help us along the way to make Bellwood School District 88 the jewel of the western suburbs. And can we do it? Yes, we can. We can. I'd like to, without any further, I want to say thanks to some individuals that are not here today. I want to thank our mayor. Let's give our mayor a hand. I just want to say a few words about our mayor. We're blessed to have a guy who is a native son of this community, was a former student of Bellwood School District 88. And it's not a time that I ever have picked up that phone and called him and asked him for support, resources, and he has not been over backwards to do it. I mean, the guy is just magnanimous in developing children and really doing in my opinion, doing a remarkable job in helping to support what we're trying to do in Bellwood School District 88. So I'm just saying, he's not here today, but I want to thank him, and hopefully he's well. But we're fortunate to have leaders like him, Ms. Wiles, Ms. Wacker, and I see a few other all our PTO members. You're doing a phenomenal job. I was just at an event, the Hispanic Heritage event on Wednesday, and I saw our Miss Crawford brought in our PTOs and our PTAs. And just to look at the level of excitement and enthusiasm that was bubbling from them, it just inspired me to say that, hey, look at Bellwood School District 88. Now we were once the laughing stock of the township. Now we are considered the prominence of the township. And that's because of wonderful people like you. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to our corporate counsel, Mr. Miller. Would like to thank you very much and your firm for providing great counsel and advice to this administration since I've been on board. It's not a day that I could not always ever, when I was dealing with some issues that were a little above me, that I couldn't pick the phone up and call Mr. Miller for advice. He's always there. He picks up the phone. His firm, other individuals in his firm as well. And they have given us some of the greatest advice known to mankind. And I can truly say that the things that we inherited in terms of our legal obligations, we have done a phenomenal job in taking that stuff off the table, thanks to Mr. Miller and his firm, taking this stuff off the table to the point where right now we are moving this district, and I mean moving it with a swiftness. And again, if I can't ever say anything else, I want to let our teacher unit, our BEA, our Bellwood Education Association, know that we really appreciate you. They have supported me as a superintendent. They've supported the work that we're doing. They've supported our Board of Education. And it's just it's a very wonderful feeling to know that we're all in this together. At the end of the day, we're all in this together. We put a beautiful board, a beautiful expose in the very back of it. It says educating our future today. As you see, there's the hands that are, Mr. Birdie came up with that idea to put that back there. And I walk in here, this time it's good too. I walk in here every day and I read that. And that helps me to stay focused on my why I'm here, my purpose for being here. And I leave you with this. When it gets to the point where it's not about kids no more, and you're employed by Bellwood School District 88, please come to this office and let us know, and we will not cast any aspersions against you. We will actually pat you on your back and help you, and I will write you the best letter of recommendation on the mankind. to get you on your way. Because we only want the best of the best here at Bellwood. Because our children deserve it, our community deserves it, our Board of Education deserves it. So on that note, God bless you all. Thank you very much. Our final word from our board president.
I think there's been a lot that has been said tonight. And since we are in the quote stage, one of the quotes that I read every morning when I get up is, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." But I actually turned that when I came here to District 88 to say, "Be the change that you want to see in District 88." I'm probably one of the longest standing District 88 students in this room. From my parents moving here in 1976 to give me and my siblings the best education. District 88 has had a rich history and heritage. At one point along the way, it did get off track. And what seemed like it took a long time to get back to restoring, I can say that we are on track now. It has been a pleasure to serve with the sound board and board members who continually to never lose the focus on the success for the children of District 88. And to this entire administration, staff, community, and parents that are engaged, I ask that you continue to stay engaged so that we can continue this achievement of success in District 88. To Superintendent Holder, I thank you for your leadership. I know this entire board thanks you. We have accomplished, and that means us as a body and whole here today, a lot in 2 years. It is my dream, along with this board, that we continue that success and we take District 88 to things that are unimaginable that people thought we could not do. Thank you.
I would like for Ms. Stacy Tonkinson and Ms. Hilda Roscoe to please come forward, please. These two ladies have worked tirelessly to help us to develop a product that we could present to you guys tonight that was of substance and of value. And I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. But we thank you so much. It was on too many occasions that, I was rushing to judgment, and I would call them back. Can you please come back to my office for 5 minutes? Could you change this? And it was always with delight and a smile. And they were more excited about doing the work than I think us admitting, because with us, it was just trying to calibrate time to get all of our leaders together to get this work done. But they were always faithful, they were always committed, and they did it with a smile. So I'm saying this, we are so fortunate to have leaders like you setting the way for our school district. And she didn't know this. I was her principal. And then but she was such a nice girl. I said, she mentioned, you were my principal. Yes, I did. I was just waiting for you to say, I was your principal. But we thank you for the commitment and dedication and just the fine work that you guys did on this presentation. Yes. And I just say to our communities, to our Board of Education, we are definitely Bellwood School District 88 on the rise. And don't let nobody fool you. Last but not least, could my team please stand up? Please stand up and join me. Join me, my team. Come on. Come on, big girl, let's go. Come on up. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
We're missing one of our team. This is a photo. This is a photo of our privilege. We're gonna take a board. The board just.
You just stand up, the entire board.
The board stand
behind you. Right.
I need to move over to the side. I understand someone. Me and you here.
Oh, new case.
Come on, Joe, the shorties in the middle.
Yeah, you see the board.
Can we see the board?
There, now, good. Perfect.
Can you get in there?
Got everybody. Yep.
Are we gonna put this up?
No, no. We get along fine. Tell them to leave until it's not over. They don't leave until after the closed session.
I'm gonna get. I love this one.
People.
Meeting's not over. Meeting's not over.
Meeting's not over.
Okay. Item number 6, the finance update, preliminary bills, Mrs. Baptist.
You all have preliminary bills of stuff that has been inputted as of Friday. As you know, this is preliminary, so still got another couple of weeks. So you should have, you'll get an updated one, but if you have any questions relating to what's on there now, available now or at any time you can attack me. I'm usually in the office and we can get any responses to any concerns you all have. That's what I said.
Is there any questions or discussion? Mrs. Baptist? Item number 7, closed session. A motion was made by Mr. Griffin, second by Ms. Perez, that the board go into closed session at 8:31 p.m. For the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in park, recreational, and educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body, including the council of the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body or legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/02 and pending litigation and matters of collective bargaining. Roll call.
Mr. Evaristo?
Aye.
Giles? Aye. Thurman? Griffin?
Aye.
McClendon?
Aye.
Perez?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to go into closed session. Is the conference room open? If you guys would like to reconvene to the conference room,